Hey guys, today's going to be a discussion. I'm not going to do any kind of like flowing or anything, so I'm just going to be chilling with you guys, talking about introversions versus inversions. Now, right away in this beginning of this video, I just want to let you know that this is just like an opinion, because there is like technically a bajillion different definitions for inversions and introversions and things like that. But what I like to use as a description when trying to explain the difference between introversions and inversions, technically however vague those terms are, the Coleman weave is where you're weaving forward and you come in through the negative space like you would be doing a buzzsaw, and I'm pushing out from the middle of my chest to out away from you. And I'm going to show you what that looks like on the side. Alright. So I'm diving in through the negative space, going out over the arm, making it a buzzsaw, as opposed to a regular weave. This one is coming out and over, and I'm hopping in through that negative space in the chest, right there. Now, the Coleman weave is a two-parter. There's also the not Coleman weave, where in this weave it's going forwards, but when done right, it looks like it's a backwards weave. So you're going to dive in to the negative space as opposed to out away from it. And this is forward. It's a forward 3-beat. And what's going on here is I'm taking that top poi on top of the arm right here, and I'm going to dive in towards my chest and out away from me, setting myself up for the other hand to dive in towards me and out away from me, getting back to that other side. So that's two inversions that I like to use as a description to get to introversions. Now, when you take and combine the not Coleman and the Coleman weave, you get an introversion, and technically sort of what that means is that both poi are traveling within the negative space, traversing in and out at the same time, but within a timing type of a movement. Say, for example, a weave, a butterfly, even buzzsaws, whatever you want to do. And so what I like to do is, for an example, is this is the not Coleman, and this is the Coleman. Now when you take the two and you combine them, now you get this bent up kind of a weave. And what's happening here, this is split time. The top poi is going to come in, and the bottom poi is going to fly out. And they alternate who does which job. On the left-hand side, my right poi is going to dive in. The right-hand side, my left-hand poi is going to dive in. And then they switch jobs when they get to the other side. So what's happening there on the inside is that I'm traveling both in and out at the same time. So that combination is quite very different than doing just like a regular inversion, where when you're doing your weave inversion, say like a barrel roll, that just kind of looks like a buzzsaw going forward. But from the side, you can obviously see I'm diving in over my wrists. I'm only going one direction in this case. It'd be going forward, right? Or backwards, for example. Whereas the introversion is somewhat of two different angles, and you're traveling in and out at the same time. Another example of inversions can be things like lovelacing, where you're utilizing the negative space hopping out away from you. This is a split time butterfly thread the needle using lovelacing, and all lovelacing is a fancy term for inverting the poi, giving it a degree of twist from the inside to the outside. And what this looks like from the side is that it's going to be pushing out away from me. I'm taking the poi and pulling it out from the negative space, going out, again out and over, as opposed to just a regular threading the needle where you're kind of punching. You're going to take this guy and you're going to use it by pushing that negative space, hopping the poi out from the inside. You can do this backwards as well, but with that you'd be hopping the poi inside of the plane, in towards your chest, out away from you, as opposed again to just doing a regular threading the needle. And this one can be real fun because you can do beats with it and slide it across the arm, etc. Anyways, getting a little off topic. The only problem with the term introversion and inversion is that it's largely argued that it has several definitions. So you got to be really careful with these terms because, like I was saying before, with the whole not Coleman versus Coleman weave, technically this is like a toroidal split time box butterfly, an anti-spin. And really, when you're doing things like my inversion that I like to do, it's a quarter bounce. By getting it to turn the other way, you have to do an iso bend. So technically this inversion is a toroid as well. So the whole term inversion, introversion is kind of like a loose, vague, mystic creature. So we're all kind of trying to strive to find the real answer, but the real answer realistically is just more or less your poi having a degree of twist, or your poi going from, say, you know, a regular barrel roll, even straight jackets or lockouts, things like that. Those are all inversions because you're using a degree of twist to get in and out, where a lockout you're like degree 1, -1. Whereas the introversion itself is somewhat of like a degree of twist where you're pulling in and out, and you're using that negative space in and out. And it, like again, I said before, it's not limited to just weaving. You can introvert when doing, say, like three-dimensional planes. And then you, again, start to get into this whole, like, atomic structure, where this is more or less what I'm talking about. This is an introversion, and all I'm doing is an extendulum ceiling plane versus inversion. So that inversion diving in and out at the same time, this is an introversion. But technically this is a three-dimensional move, or if you want to get even more fancy, this is a toroid. I'd like to end this discussion by, again, just reiterating the point that these are all just my opinions based on my findings. These are not concrete, solid terms and definitions, but it's just more or less how I understand the whole introversion versus inversion. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything, any move questions, any type of areas that you didn't understand, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll be sure to get back. I'm going to go ahead and try to edit this up right now and get this sent out so you guys can check it out. Let me know what you guys think, okay? Alright, peace out.